Blessings, brothers and sisters. It's Lori Ann Spagna with LoriSpagna.com. Here today to share with you the one thing I forgot. This happened once before. There's so much information and energy and consciousness shifting around these sort of pivotal types of moments in time space that there's something I forgot. This is the second time this happened regarding the 777 triple Stargate portal of this year, obviously on July 7th, 2023. It's not the second time I forgot it this time, but this happened last year on the 666 portal, where there was one thing I forgot, and it lit up just in the middle of the night last night in my consciousness that it was meant to be shared. 777 in numerology also translates to 21, which is the star of Magi, the gift of the Magi. And also 21 translates in numerology, sacred numerology, to the number 3, which is the union of the higher self, the human identity self, and the soul self. And different people may differentiate these in different ways. However, this is how I've been taught by Source, that through my connection with my divine team, is that your soul self, which is the sort of part of you that's going through time-space reality with an agenda and multiple agendas for your evolution, multiple agendas, including even parts of your how to resolve, what it wants to resolve with regard to your karma, what it wants you to heal, what it wants you to learn, etc. Many agendas that the soul has. The human identity is the personality self that is attempting to resolve those issues, or maybe spiritually bypassing or missing them. And of course, 7 is a year where one could easily spiritual bypass. I witnessed that's a detour. I'll come back to that. And then the higher self part of you is the part that is sort of really knows itself as Source, right? It doesn't know itself wholly and completely as the one that is infinite, all that is, but it knows itself as the you that is aspect of Source. And it is the part that wants to embody more fully, but cannot fully, wholly, and completely embody within you and around you, the totality of you, until the soul is resolved of its issues. And as the higher self, Source self, embodies more of you, that's when you more fully align with more of your dharmic path, because you have resolved your karmic path, right? That is more, this is when the 3 come together. This is the point. The 3, the soul, which we could more fully talk about that, and the higher self, which we could more fully talk about that, and then the personality self, which we can talk about. That's where a lot of our individual journey is, right? Well, all of them have aspects of individuality and aspects of unity. They are meant to work together in a cohesive way, in a unified way that bring unification for the individual and ultimately for your divine collective, your team, which includes the multiple aspects of your multidimensional nature. Now, on a 777 triple Stargate portal, like, this is such a big deal. It's about the unification, right? And I mean, in religion, some religions, they refer to this as body, mind, soul. If you're in a more, what's that word, New Age sort of religion, so to speak. I don't subscribe necessarily to the New Age. Sometimes that's a little too, very often that's a little way too love and light for me. But that's in there, right? And then more formal religion, they call that in especially the Roman Catholic or Christian religion, they call that the Father, Son, and the Holy Christ, or the Holy Ghost is what they call that in some organized religion. But regardless, there's many different ways to identify those three aspects, but the three really signifies the union, the reunion, the unity of the coming together of those aspects which perhaps have been functioning to some degree in a fragmented way or a separated way, or in a way where the personality, identity did not understand or was not unified with those aspects, and therefore has been functioning with less unification, with less, and certainly with less clarity, with yet less of a kind of certainty. And these fragmented parts that have not come together create various kinds of dysmorphia in the field even, right? So the point is then a triple Stargate portal, such as the one we're referring to, the 777, that translates in numerology also to 21 and also to the number 3, carries this potential for everyone to really fully embrace and unify with more of these aspects of ourselves, which have been to such a large degree living, in polarity, in duality, in fragmentation, in separation. So this is a tremendous opportunity of this portal for those willing and choosing. And for those choosing a path of more sort of denial, that opportunity is here in a 7-year as well, of course. So, I was about to say earlier, I've noticed how, for me, I rarely do private sessions anymore, and more of what I do is I work with people in a mentorship, either individually through a mentorship where someone is working on really getting to the depths of their own fragmented self and really want to get to those hard to uncover aspects of themselves so that they can really come into unity. I've noticed how some of the last remaining people who came to me years ago who don't want to go to those depths, who really are choosing more of an egoic path, even though they're perhaps pursuing studies in, mediumship or it's one of those other popular ones that's very popular, like human design. Those kinds of things are they're tools, but that is not a spiritual path. A true spiritual path to come into unity and unification is not about all the bells and whistles, right? Someone can be, I've known people who are excellent mediums and psychics, but they are not on a true spiritual path. A true spiritual path is about unification with your source, which requires exploring the depths of that which has propelled one into the experience of duality, and which allows one to identify with the egoic structure, and which allows one to be sort of trapped within the matrix or the experience of duality, right? The density that is contained within fourth dimensional construct. So therefore one can develop all kinds of bells and whistles. They can become a medium, a psychic, etc. But for the most part, most of those people are still functioning within fourth dimensional framework, or just barely anchoring in fifth dimension, where they can still hold on to a lot of that egoic structure, you see, because they're not necessarily truly on a spiritual path, which is a path of inner exploration to unify with the divine. This portal is presenting that for people. But I've noticed how people are dropping out because they don't want to go to that depth. They're just happy to hang out at 5D. That's okay too. 3, 4, 5D, fluctuations. And collect many, what are they called? They're just gifts, tools. I have tons of them too. I collected lots of tools on my journey. I collected so many tools. I have great tools. So I love those tools. I'm not poo-pooing the tools or the desire to harness or gain tools. I'm simply saying that's not a true spiritual path, which may be confusing to people. A true spiritual path is the deep inner exploration that brings one in union with the divine. This is the ultimate gifts of the Magi. This is the gifts that the Magi bring in the number 21, is the ability to bring things, situations, circumstances, consciousness together in union. And when one is on a true spiritual path, one is truly doing the inner exploration, not by the accumulation of psychic gifts, but by truly doing the inner inquiry to get beyond their own egoic structures, their own separation, their own duality, and to really more fully unify with the divine. These are the people that I work with, and many of these people are truly true seekers. It's quite an honor to work with people who are truly doing the inner work, the inner excavation. This is what my life has been devoted to. And in truth, this is really truly about the inner exploration is about the recognition that one does not know what they don't know and is willing to go beyond carpet sweeping or spiritual bypassing, which is part of that number 7, the potential of the shadow side of 7, to really come into greater fulfillment, to really be the lotus that sort of rises up from the murky water, to be the, to bring forth the eternal that they are from the density that they once embodied, to do that deep work. And it requires a willingness to be sort of relentless, right? And this is why I'm so good at helping people get past their blocks, because I've been this way on my own journey. And the spiritual journey is a journey of personal fulfillment and of sincere and the depth of the desire to really self-actualize, to become the best version of yourself. So it is a personal transformation where you're doing that, not only self-reflection, it's much more than mental. The energetic transformation that truly is permanent and lasting. That is what I do, and that is what is so exciting about this particular portal. Now, this is not the masses, right? The masses do not have to do this work because they're not necessarily interested in it, right? The masses will get the ripple 100th monkey effect. All they really need to do is choose to be good, kind people. They just need to make a choice to be good, kind people who eliminate the so-called, what we would call evil, which is in this word, the desire to, or the willingness to benefit to the hurt or harm of another, and or the willingness to be serving self to the detriment of another, and even especially the willingness to attempt to enforce one's free will on another, one's own personal desires on another, to usurp someone's free will, right? So the masses, that's the only thing they need to do to change. But if you're really wanting to be at the forefront of your own evolution and transformation, especially if you're a person who's like, yeah, I don't want to opt back into this. I don't want to play the game of reincarnation ever again, at least not, without my full and complete conscious consent. I don't want to keep reincarnating and, be on the hamster wheel. The looping patterns of recreating the same experience over and over again until I finally can see it. If you want off that, this portal is for you. This portal is, wow, this is what this is about. And this particular DNA activations webinar, of course, is where we will be really covering that stuff. And of course, you can register over at LoriSpagna.com, yeah? Under the live events tab, I'll put the link into this. These audios that I do, they're for my community on the newsletter. I don't typically get to release them onto YouTube until sometimes it's too late for the event. So it's a good thing you're in the community and you're hearing this, right? Because if you're listening to it on YouTube, the event may or may not have passed. You can likely still get the replay because we do record all the events. You don't have to be there live. It's just that by the time my tech guy, my video guy gets to the video, sometimes it takes a little more time to get it up onto YouTube, and then we have to do scheduling. So if you're hearing this now, you're probably hearing it. Well, it depends, right? If you're on my newsletter list and you're in my inner community, you'll hear it likely in time for the live event, and I hope you will join us. Of course, needless to say, it's on the 7th. I want to share a little bit about some of the activations and the transmissions that we'll be getting. They're always new. We rarely repeat them, and the ones we do sometimes repeat some of them. It depends on what's being guided and what's being given to me to share and what the collective of humanity is going through, because of course every time we do this kind of work, what we're doing essentially is anchoring in this energy and consciousness for the collective, right? So that they can make the shifts and changes energetically. They're not conscious of these changes within them. They just suddenly believe that they're getting more psychic, or suddenly they believe they're communicating with the dead, or suddenly they're having metaphysical experiences, but they didn't necessarily do the inner work for it. And that's because they're getting the gift, the benefits of what we, the way showers, the early embodiers are doing. And so many light workers are here for that, and way showers. And if you're resonating with this, that would include likely you. If you're feeling any resistance in your body being, that's worth exploring as well. Right? That's the inner excavation, the deep dives that allow us to shed those old layers of really some of it's a false light. I was on a call yesterday, I think it was yesterday, for an event that I'm going to be doing. And one of the light workers at the end of the call just took it upon herself to say, the energy in this group is not that good. I'm going to just give you some of my light language to clear it. She did not ask permission of the group. She just went into it. And that is the use of evil. She doesn't even know. She felt that it was her free will right to enforce that on the group. She did not ask permission. People don't understand this, right? This is a very advanced, progressed woman who, in her way, although she is still at the same time truly serving herself. Not truly, but she believes she's getting guidance, and she has this beautiful gift of light language. I'm saying this because I have cultivated discernment. I'm saying this because I have worked with this energy for so long that now I can see it. And because you have this capacity within you to really align with the light, to really truly be of service to the light, which is the expansion of consciousness, which is God Source Creator's will for humanity, which therefore gifts you, will in the process truly gift you with fabulous gifts, all of those tools that we're referring to. But you don't have to, that then those gifts and tools start to come about organically, naturally, in a way that really does serve Source. This triple portal is all about that. I hope this makes sense. I feel like I'm giving really good gold here. I hope it makes sense and is helpful. So for this upcoming DNA activations webinar, I did put this in my most recent newsletter, but I just let you know, we get visited by the most amazing ascended masters and divine goddesses. I do know the Magi will come through on this because they're the ones who said, we're going to come through and share more about this. So that's where this one thing is coming from. But we're also everything will be led this time particularly by Lord Sananda and the hosts, who is really the oversoul, collective family for Master Jesus and so many other ascended masters. And also Lord Melchizedek and the Melchizedek order, of which I am one in that order, as many of you are. If you've ever worked with Melchizedek, if you've ever worked directly with me, chances are you are in that order and have that capacity. But what I know also is that these beings tend to work with us more directly as we more and more demonstrate our service, our true, authentic dedication, commitment, and service. So, all right, Master Katumi, Master Hilarion, Master Merlin. These are all members of these orders, by the way. Master Metatron. They all serve. Organized religion doesn't always realize this. Sometimes they say only work with Jesus. In fact, many of the organized religions, if they're in the realm of Christianity, they'll say that. And I understand, because even Jesus came through that collective of Lord Sananda and the hosts, right? And many of these other beings, Lady Nada, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, they also were studied and they apprenticed. They were disciples through that lineage. But organized religion doesn't always know that, because they limit their knowing to only the one, Jesus. But they're all through that lineage, most of them, not all of them, of Lord Sananda and the hosts, or else Melchizedek order, which are parts of the same group, collectives, right? Lady Kuan Yin, Lady Guinevere, Lady Lakshmi, Lady Abundantia, Goddess Shakti, Goddess Sarasvati, two of my primaries, Sarasvati, Shakti, and Parvati are actually three of my primaries. And we'll tap in probably with the Sisterhood of the Rose. They've been showing up more and more in the Great White Brotherhood of Man. They come in a lot also. They're a collective who are connected to these lineages. Now, the star family races are a separate, all-together group, right? And if you're familiar with the star family races, many of you are, especially those of you who have done these calls with me before, because most of the people who come to the DNA activations webinars that we do, most of you guys have done this with me over and over again, right? I know there's a very loyal group of us who come together over and over and over again, do this deep inner work. But we'll connect with them, of course, all the star family races, and they'll, not all of them, but most of the primaries, Palladians, Lyrians, Lemurians, Arcturians, Syrians. They're some of the ones that are most prevalent in working with shifting humanity's consciousness and elevating and offering consciousness, energy, and vibration that is typically beyond fifth dimensional bandwidth. Yeah, we want to go into those pure frequencies, those higher octaves, so that we can really cleanse the density out of our field. And again, it's always a free will choice. I always work with the angels, angel gods, angels of healing. These are choirs of angels. And I'm starting to get to know various angelic collectives, sub-collectives of the angelic realms. And of course, we all know the major archangels, right? They come in, we set up stage with them. We set up, not stage, safe space, so that we're in a pure container energetically. And we're all in our own energetic space, even though we share an overlapping field as we come together in unification for these kinds of events. Solaris is going to come in this time. I know there's a lot of light codes, a lot of new light. And this is one of the things we'll be talking about, but how much more light will come in, how much more colors and gradients of light we will have in our in our lives, in our world as we move forward. The other day, I was traveling from the west coast of Florida to the east coast of Florida, and I saw the most magnificent rainbow. Florida gets a lot of great rainbows because there's so much sun and so much water, but I had never seen the crispness of all of the colors, and I could see gradients of color that I had never seen before as long as I've lived in Florida. It was amazing, and I thought, that's what Solaris is talking about. Well, communicating about when it's sharing about all of these other light codes that are coming in. Really cool. And by being able to see that light, right, it's because we're pure and we're bringing in more purity into physicality. Again, I hope this is making sense and that you're with me here. We will connect with the animal kingdom. I have been getting some amazing messages from duck, the duck sub-collective, armadillo, panther, porcupine, and giraffe. We've never connected before with porcupine or armadillo, and electric eel. Amazing. Also regarding color and light, but I'm really excited to share more about what I've been getting. The sub-collective of this animal kingdom known as electric eel. I have never brought them through as a collective before, so that's a first. Very excited. We'll be communicating with the collective of trees in the nature kingdom and the crystalline kingdom. They almost always come in, but always have new and different things to share. Yeah, and the codes are in the newsletter that we'll be working with this time. I'll say them pretty quickly. I might not get to all of them here because there's so many. We tend to go really long. You know, these calls are over 3 hours typically, and I'm going to try to keep them to 3 hours. We're getting better at doing the codes in bulk, right? For those of you who have participated, you know what that means. But in any case, we've got some transmissions related to cosmic reunion and a lot of these higher pure frequency gradients, divine gold, divine platinum, tri-wave magnetic structures. We don't even know what these things are, right? They get translated during the call. The crystal heart, a lot of transmissions related to coming back into personal power. Actually, some of this does come from communicating with the planetary body known as Pluto. That was in the last transmission, the channeling call. There's a lot of channeling on this call, of course, because that's where the information comes from. Energetic reorientation is one of them. Multidimensional integration. I'm working these days on really supporting people on awakening more of their multidimensional aspects. And in fact, there's a call on coming up a week or two after the DNA activations webinar. We'll be working on embodying more of our multidimensional self. Codes of simultaneity and surrender trust, which is what happens the more you align with the divine, right? All right, I'm not going to list them all because I've gone longer than I want to. They are in the newsletter. But I do want to say we haven't been clearing out corrupted DNA patterns for a while. This time I was brought to clear out a lot of that. So I'm pretty excited about that because I actually love clearing out the corrupted stuff. And we haven't done that for many, many calls, DNA activations, but this is the first time in many years we're doing that again. Corrupted imprints, implants, etc., and patterns of the doom and gloom programming, which humanity has been living with for too long. The grass is always greener programming. I think that's crazy. You can never be happy because the grass is always greener somewhere else, right? Negative alien agenda, stuff that's been messing with us. Patterns of separation and duality. Distortions of entrapment is a big one. People don't know how they're entrapped. Wow, I could talk a lot about that. I'm going to save a lot of this for the call, obviously, because there's so much here. Contracts and agreements on the war on consciousness. This is going to be a biggie. Most people don't even know that's going on, right? We start clearing it out of our DNA. Can you imagine how powerful that is for humanity? So good. So good. We start cleaning it out of us. We get it through all the lifetimes, incarnations, bloodlines. Oh my God, it's good stuff, you guys. And then distortions and interference in the DNA, We're going to clear just stuff out, including stuff like black goo, distorted alien machinery, and the universal shadow. I'm excited to get this stuff out. And it's not painful. It's not dark. You're in a state of bliss. There's nothing to be afraid of here. We're surrounded in love. We're doing God Source Creator's work in service to the light by helping to get this stuff out of the field and remove it from the DNA. You understand? There's nothing to be afraid of this. This is like supporting in the removal and the clearing of this only as is for our most benevolent best. Zero harm. Right? You have to really know you're aligned with the divine on this. This is how it's so easy to do this work when we're in service to the light. All right, you learned so much on the call, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. But the one thing I forgot was really about the 21-3. I've elaborated now. And of course, you can register at LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, you'll see the link for the DNA activations webinar. It says speed activations. And right now, just until the 7/7 portal day, there is a huge sale on the whole history of all the I mean, I don't know what made me give 50% off it. It's worth so much more than that, but there is a sale until the end of that day for 50% off the full membership, which is the whole history of all the DNA activation webinars we have ever done. It goes back years, and they're all unique and different. Yeah. Of course, we always do the perfect and pure crystalline DNA activation to awaken whatever's right and appropriate for each individual next. And we do 12-strand DNA activation. This is the first time I'm doing 24 strands. First time. That's very exciting. We're ready for it. Well, I'm ready to offer it. And you'll receive what you're meant to, right? So what's for your most benevolent best when you register? So I hope you will join us. It's very exciting. And I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, there's a few other brand new, beautiful activations as well, such as the double diamond activation, the golden path activation. There's just lots of blue flame, amethyst flame, ruby flame. We've done a lot of flame activations before, but these are all part of lights and codes. Really exciting. I hope this is helpful to you and for you. Okay. With that, I'm going to sign off for now. And I hope it makes sense, and I hope to see you on the 777 Triple Stargate Portal Speed Activations webinar on 777. Okay. Until then, lots of love to you. Farewell for now. Bye-bye.